Donald Trump, President of the United States, decided to name people he's going to punish next in an unhinged post. Here it is. Now, according to Atlanta Black Star, President Donald Trump's latest online rant is sparking outrage, accusations of openly committing, quote, another impeachable offense. I'll come back to that in a moment. In a fiery post shared on Truth Social, Trump once again mixed political threats with personal insults. But this time his words carried an unmistakable message about who he plans to target next and how he plans to do so. Early Friday morning, Trump boasted he would block federal funds for New York City if Democratic mayoral nominee, Mr. Mandani, who is running for mayor, hopefully he wins, will prove to be one of the best things to ever happen. So Trump wrote on September 29th, adding, quote, he is going to have problems with Washington like no mayor in the history of our once great city. Remember, he needs the money from me. We'll come back to that as well. Trump says he needs the money from me as president in order to fulfill all of his fake communist promises. He won't be getting any of it. So what's the point of voting for him? Trump says. He continues, this ideology has failed always for thousands of years. It will fail again. And that's guaranteed. President DJ T. Keep that picture up. If the ideology is so adverse to common sense, normative thinking, the goodwill of people, why is he winning? Why do people prefer him than individuals who think like you? And two, obviously, not your money. It's our money. MAGA is afraid to remind you of that. It is our money. And Trump threatening to utilize the power of the federal government in order to punish another American citizen for their protected political free speech is germane to why the Constitution was written to give you freedom thereof. Your freedom of speech protects you from government punishment for protected speech. You cannot get more government than the president of the United States utilizing the very power of the White House and its funding coordination apparatus. How does this pan out? There's a lot more. The uproar highlights the legal and political risk of Trump's statement. While presidents hold a wide discretion over federal priorities, legal scholars have long warned that weaponizing funding against political opponents would be an absolute abuse of power on the grounds for impeachment. Whether Trump's latest remarks amounts to an impeachable abuse of power may depend less on legal interpretation and more on the political realities of Congress, where impeachment can only advance with partisan majorities. Now, if you want to talk impeachment, the last person you need to discuss it with is a legal scholar, because impeachment is not a legal or statutory proceeding. As a matter of fact, what you are impeached for is typically broad language contextualized in the U.S. Constitution that just fits. It can be a statute behind it, but that's not the same forum. So while we're talking about impeachable offenses, Trump has threatened to utilize the power of the White House. The reality is he's already done it when he took over DC. He has already done it when he decided to utilize the great power of the White House to bring in bloggers and lie about Epstein. All of these are abuses, every single one of them. But because nobody checked them at 1, 2, 3, or 4, he is now telling you it is no longer your money. It's his money. He would do with his money as he sees fit. Every New Yorker, regardless of political affiliation, should be outraged. And every person, including myself, should understand that his statement is a proxy to the nation contextualized through New York. As far as other political targets, let's get to them. Federal judge. A federal judge in Oregon issued a new and broader order on Sunday night to halt Trump from deploying any more National Guard troops, regardless of their state of origin, to Oregon, Illinois, elsewhere. As Democratic governors resisting the president warned of a frightening escalation in his authoritarian tendencies, U.S. District Judge Karen J. Emmergott, who on Saturday ruled that Trump could not lawfully federalize National Guard troops from California or deploy to Portland, Oregon, issued a second order after Trump mobilized 400 National Guard troops out of Texas with the blessing of the Republican governor, Greg Abbott, to deploy instead. This is an attempt to color within the lines in a way. But Texas has been breaking the law for a long time. The governor doesn't give a damn. The attorney general, if he was an AG, would be in prison now because of the previous indictment and investigation. So that's what you have there. Now, California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, whose administration challenged the order to send California soldiers, applauded the ruling after calling Trump's effort to send the Texas troops, quote, a breathtaking abuse of the law and power by the president of the United States, end quote. Quote, America is on the brink of martial law, said Newsom. Do not be silent. One correction, Governor. It's already here. Martial law and definition, utilizing your military force as domestic police. Your domestic police, they have rules. Your local police, they have rules too. Does that make them not your local police? Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, also a Democrat, issued a stark warning about Trump's efforts to send soldiers to Chicago, where ramped up immigration enforcement raids have rolled the city and terrorized the community into a frenzy. Quote, we must now start calling this what it is. Trump's invasion, said Pritzker. It started with federal agents. It will soon include deploying federalized members of the National Guard against our wishes. And it will now involve sending another state's military troops. Mr. Pritzker singled out a late night Border Patrol raid last week at an apartment building in Chicago's South Side. When video taken by bystanders showed residents of the building restrained with zip ties. We covered that. Federal agents were, quote, just picking up people who are brown and black and then checking their credentials. The governor said, he added, quote, they are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago if they're going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do. Put up the governor again, Jordan. I would like to applaud you, Pritzker, and I would like to applaud Newsom. But I can't applaud any of this without saying the truth, the obvious truth. You have the authority to arrest federal agents in your state. Case law backs it. U.S. Supreme Court has upheld it. Case in point, Red Dog, City of Atlanta. Federal agents did what they believed was unlawful. They arrested them. Yes. State troopers, Georgia, arrested federal agents. And it was upheld. These are your citizens. I'm just saying an option that most people believe probably doesn't exist, which is the fact that you have a law enforcement agency as well. You have command also. It's an infrastructure. You are the executive of that state, as Trump is the executive of the federal government. Just a thought. In an effort to fight back, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, his brother has been attempting to do his best, signed an executive order creating, quote, ICE-free zones across the city. Johnson's order, which took effect immediately, bars federal immigration authorities from using city-owned properties, including parking lots and vacant spaces, as staging areas for immigration enforcement. Keep our dear brother up. That's step one. It's a remarkable move. It's an executive order. Executive orders do not carry the force of law from the mayor's desk, unfortunately. However, executive orders are able to become statutory law in the city by way of council support, which then would mean you must have enforcement to the infraction. And if they violate an actual law, they can be arrested for violating the law. Is anybody pushing, Mr. Mayor, for your executive order to become a a felony statute in your city? Because if not, they're going to ignore it. I love you all too much to not say something. Judges won't save democracy. Takes us all, every single one of us, me included, Senator Nina Turner included. Senator, thoughts here?
No, thanks, Dr. Richey, and I love how you just laid that out and also gave these governors and the mayor, and big ups to Mayor Brandon Johnson, who's under enormous amount of pressure trying to do this thing. Just thank you for laying out what they could be doing. Hopefully their teams are watching this, or they're watching this, and they will take your advice. This is a president gone wild. I mean, really, yeah. It is. When it comes to what he's doing to Mandami, I mean, obviously, when he says the ideology will fail, what ideology is that? One that recognizes the economic pain points of the people who live in New York City? Is he talking about that ideology, Doc? I don't get it. The one that recognizes these tariffs and how they are making everything more expensive for the American people. The fact that we don't have universal health care, the fact that people can't afford to pay their rent or their mortgage or their car note. There was a poll conducted, and it asked people that 3 number one stressors that American people have laid out for them is shelter, jobs, and paying for food.
Wow.
Stress. I mean, and they asked them that question in that way. And so I don't understand what the president of the United States is talking about. And if he was so sure that this was not going to work, then why you all up in Mandami's business and the business of the people voting in the city of New York? Just let it go. Go ahead and let the voters already decided in the primary. And then, Mayor Adams has gotten out of the race, Doc. They're trying to consolidate to make sure
That's
that
right.
the candidate that the president wants to see win gets to win. So now they're trying to rig it in that way. And then the three co-branches of government, I tell you, it seems as though, now some of them lower court judges are doing what they can, but this president is banking on it going all the way to United States Supreme Court, because that court, the configuration right now, has been made in his image. But Dr. Richey, the abdication of their responsibility on these other two branches of government. The Congress done fell down, and I don't care about whether you in his party or not. And the judicial branch in some cases has fallen down. I mean, maybe what I learned in junior high about the three co-equal branches of government maybe that's not real in 2025, because it does not seem that it is. And then lastly, in terms of what is happening in Chicago, I've talked to some of my friends there. People are living in terror, Doc, that this president is violating. He's using law enforcement officers to do that. So I'll remind you, people in blue suits or red suits with red ties, it doesn't matter. But people in suits are directing people in uniform to rain terror on their fellow citizens, violating the 4th Amendment to the Constitution, the 5th Amendment to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, Dr. Richey, and maybe a whole bunch of other stuff too. But this is quite stunningly shameful, and this president does not care. And so unless the other branches of government step up, I don't know, Doc. I mean, it seems like he's getting away with this stuff so far.
Well, it seems as if he is. He continues to push the envelope as we said he would. I believe that the light that people like you and others bring,
and you,
and some light that's coming to some of our brothers and sisters who are currently elected, will outshine the darkness. We just have to remind them. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come.